season. Clips had won the previous two. With a win, Phoenix is in the playoffs for the first time in more than a decade. What a turnaround for this franchise. No Kawhi for LA. The conglomerate. Kaminsky down low. Suns lead by 9. Marcus Morris hits the 3, cuts it to 4. Ensuing possession. Devin Booker. Such a clever, confident, capable scorer. Up 3 after the free throw. Kaminsky, conglomerate, Steve.
Always. For life.
10-point lead at halftime. I don't know if they still buy scratch-off tickets. That didn't seem like a very fiscally responsible way to behave. They can do what they want. Paul can do what he wants, hits the jumper. Luke Kennard got a whole bunch of cash because he can do that. Make buckets, 4-point game. Campaign.
No.
You get an H, an O, an R, an S, or an E if he hits that shot on you on horse. I don't know if kids still play horse. I'm just saying that was a high degree of difficulty shot. Booker, pure. Suns lead by 3 midway through the 4th. Rajon Rondo attacks the rim. Clippers right back to within 1. Then it's Paul. Makes every team he's on better. Lead is 3. Then it's Paul. Not quite like what he did to the Knicks the other night, but same idea, hitting big buckets in the 4th quarter. Booker, Paul. Clever little flip off the glass. And then Paul again. Mid-range. Count it. Under 2.5 to go. Devin Booker float game.
On point.
Monty Williams all smiles. So are the Suns fans as they are enjoying what has been a long time coming. Afterwards, Chris Paul with Ryan Ruocco on the Suns ending that playoff drought.
Man, it means a lot. You know, this group of guys that we got, it's a special team. To be reconnected with a coach who coached me 10 years ago. Give James Jones a lot of credit for trusting me. You know what I mean? 35-year-old who, you know, a couple years ago they said I was done. I just appreciate even the opportunity to be here.
Chris, what did you think when people said you were done a couple years ago?
It was cool. I know me. You know, hard work. You know, that's the thing. You know, when you're competitive, you know, you always got to bet on yourself. I think Fred VanVleet say that all the time. Isaiah Thomas always saying slow grind. You know, it's all about the work that you do when people don't see you. And you know, I'm grateful to have an unbelievable team around me, a support system like none other.
You know, you just mentioned Monty Williams, who you're reunited with. How would you describe the connection that you two have?
Man, it's more than a player-coach. You know, we're family. We're family. We've been through a lot of stuff together. Through kids being born, through tough times. Mont was at my wedding. You know, it's very rare you get people like that to come into your life, and I'm really grateful for Coach.
Chris, you've been to the playoffs plenty. Your young backcourt running mate Devin Booker is about to head to his first postseason. What can you say about the experience of playing with Devin as he gets ready to head to his first playoffs?
Man, I'm happy for him because he deserves it. You know, when you're in this league, sometimes the casual fan don't get a chance to appreciate somebody's greatness. And Devin is a guy who's been doing it on a nightly basis. And I'm just happy that the world is finally getting to see him. And I'm grateful that he trusted me to come here to play alongside him, man. And, our team wouldn't be where we are without him and his willingness to fight every day and his selflessness.
Well done. Phoenix Suns back in the postseason for the first time since the 9-10 season, snapping the second longest active drought. Only the Kings have a longer drought. They've missed every year since 2006. After leading OKC in a series.
The Suns are in second place, 1 game out of 4 in the Wild West.
Yep.
Does CP3 have any chance to win MVP?
No, not to actually win. He doesn't have a chance to win. He, as usual, when he's healthy, he is among the most valuable players in basketball. He's among the most valuable players. But he's never been the best or the most valuable in any one given year, and this year is no exception. Let's not forget, yes, they have the second best record in the West. When the bubble happened, they had the best record in basketball. They were 8-0. That's before he ever got there. So this was all, I'm not claiming they were better without him or they would be as good without him this year, But the point is, they were already a formidable team before he got there, trending in the right direction. Are we even sure that he's better than Devin Booker or more valuable than Devin Booker this season? And if so, by a lot? I mean, that's a vicious backcourt. They're both great players. And here's the thing, Stephen A. If you ask me to list my MVP candidates, Chris Paul will be somewhere in the top 5 right now. A lot of that has to do with injury to Kevin Durant, to James Harden, to LeBron James, to Anthony Davis, and a lot of that has to do with his own play. But I see no scenario where he could be the MVP over Jokic. I mean, Lillard has looked tired in the last couple weeks compared to a lot of the season because he was forced to carry so much of the load for so much of the season. But Chris Paul's not the MVP over Lillard. So I don't see a way where he can be given MVP this season.
I don't see him winning the MVP, but I'm not going to sit up there and say he has no chance, and it's primarily because of the reasons that you just mentioned. Let's just go down the list, Max Kellerman. Let's understand, before we go down the list, actually, let's understand something. The Phoenix Suns right now are 43-18. They are one game back from the Utah Jazz as having the best record in basketball. Not just the number 1 seed in the West, the number 1 seed in all of basketball. And you can talk about the Phoenix Suns trending in the right direction all you want to, and I'm not going to deny that because I think Monty Williams and his staff with my man Willie Green and Randy Ayers and those boys have been doing a phenomenal job, no question about it. I'm seeing the growth of DeAndre Ayton. That shows me what Monty Williams and his staff is made of. I'm seeing Devin Booker growing and flourishing as a player. That shows me something else about Monty Williams and his staff. And, of course, Chris Paul has something to do with that. But what we have to pay attention to is that every place Chris Paul is gone, teams have gotten better. You understand? When he went to New Orleans, they got better. You understand? When he went to Houston, they got better. I mean, this dude, they in Phoenix, they get better. What he touches improves. There's no negative with Chris Paul. There's positive because he's the quintessential floor general. One of the great floor generals we've ever seen, being the 6-foot pit bull of a guard that he is. They're top 6 defensively. They're top 10 offensively. That's usually the case when Chris Paul is on your team because he plays on both ends of the floor, and his defense, I wouldn't even say it's been vastly underrated because he religiously gets recognized for it. But then when you take into account those things that I just pointed out, and then the injuries to Harden, LeBron, AD, Embiid, Kevin Durant, etc. No, the Joker doesn't have that. But the Joker ain't the number 1 seed in the West either, or tinkering towards being the number 1 seed in the West either. He hasn't missed any games. He's been reliable. But the point is, it could come down to the wire. Damian Lillard was in the conversation, but Portland fell off, losing 5 or 6 straight recently, and that's hurt him to some degree as well. Look at what this man is bringing to the table, how the Phoenix Suns are flourishing, and it could very well come down as it presently stands right now, somewhat by default because of the injuries. But it could come down to the Joker versus CP3 because of the profound impact that everyone, including Devin Booker, acknowledges Chris Paul has had on the Phoenix Suns.
No, he can't win it over Jokic, and he won't win it over Jokic because he hasn't been as good as Jokic because Jokic is better. He's more valuable this year. That's the problem with making the CP3 argument, Stephen A. He will be on the list. I mean, CP3 I could see coming in as high as 3rd because Embiid has missed time. I think Giannis also has to be, and we have him on the MVP favorites board there. But Jokic, Stephen A., his team is 40-21. He doesn't have Jamal Murray. Hadn't had him for a minute now. Jamal Murray is the second best player on the
Last
team.
couple of weeks.
In the playoffs.
But
right,
you want me
okay.
to tell you, well, you want me to tell you how you're profoundly wrong? You said, no, he won't. Do you have a vote?
That's not the point.
Hold on. Let me say. I have a vote.
Okay.
The point is,
you're going to vote for Chris Paul?
Let me explain. There are people at the end of the season that might make that call. We've seen it many times. How many times have you been on the show and lamented the fact that Steve Nash got the award over Shaq? It wouldn't be the first time that we've looked at NBA. I'm not knocking you for it. I'm simply saying
I hear what you're saying.
talking about what should happen, and you may be right. What I'm saying to you is that it's a very selective process, and it depends on what you're looking for. What if Denver falls off a little bit, Max? And let's say they fall a 5th or a 6th seed, and they're a 500 team because Jamal Murray has been gone, and then Phoenix ascends to the number 1 seed in basketball. I'm saying,
no, it can't. I'm saying there's not. Wait, hold on, Stephen A. There's not enough time in the season. Phoenix right now is 43-18. Denver is 40-21. 40 and 21. They're 3 games off the pace, and Jamal Murray's been out for a hot minute.
Basketball the rest of the way. I don't mean 500 as on the season.
Oh, I see what you're
I
saying.
said 500 the rest of the way.
Yeah, even if they're if they're 500
Right.
the rest of the way. So what do they have? They have 11 games left. Even if they went 6-5 or 5-6, they're going to wind up 45 and 26, 46 and 25.
What I'm saying, this is what I'm trying to acknowledge to you. If CP3 does what he did last night, the rest of the way, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, because obviously you and I both agree about where Jokic is right now. What I'm saying is if CP3 does that the rest of the last 10, 11 games or so, right? And Phoenix captures the #1 seed in all of basketball. Meanwhile, Denver tails off. Look at the history of the voting. There are people that may look at that, Max, and go like this. Well, damn.
Here's the thing.
We
Who
might
are
have
you
to give him
voting
that
for
vote.
big time? That's what I want to know.
Here's the bottom line about that. You're right. Steve Nash and Shaq is a good example because Steve Nash was a guard, and when a guard has the ball in his hands and he's showing leadership and hooking everybody up, maybe they give an advantage over a big. But Stephen A., here's the thing about Jokic.